cornea. So, regarding cornea, it's a transparent structure, transparent like a watch glass. Okay, and it helps in 2/3 of refraction. So, what is refraction? Refraction is basically the light rays coming from far away, it falls on the retina. So, like Mahendra Singh Dhoni or Virat Kohli, our cornea does a great job in providing 2/3 of the refraction, and the 1/3 is provided by the lens, crystalline lens. So, there are two classic features of cornea. Bear with my handwriting. So, there are two classic features of cornea. One, it's about innovation, it's highly innovated, and number two, it is avascular. So, since it is highly innovated, what happens is if there is any small foreign body, it gives a lot of problem to the eyes. You will have blepharospasm, which is they'll close their eyelid, and then you will have photophobia, lacrimation, watering, all these kind of symptoms you will have because of highly innovation. And since it's avascular, what happens is there is no blood supply to the cornea, and hence we can do corneal transplant. So that is one of the reason why corneal transplant is the most successful surgery. So coming to the layers of the cornea, so these are the 5 layers, or rather 6 layers. When I was preparing for entrance exam, I had a mnemonic called A, B, C, D, E. I'm not trying to write alphabets, I'm not practicing alphabets. So what is A, B, C, D, E? And now there is another D, so there are double D's now. Okay, these are the layers. So layers are anterior epithelium, Bowman's membrane, corneal stroma, Duval's layer, Decimet's layer, endothelium. So anterior epithelium, Bowman's membrane, corneal stroma, Duval's layer, Decimet's layer, and the endothelium. So let us discuss each and every layer today. Okay, so coming to the anterior epithelium, I'll do a small demonstration of what is what. So here I have got all the layers printed. So this is the anterior epithelium. So there are 3 MCQs that is possible with anterior epithelium. Okay, number 1, what is its histology? What kind of cells they have? It is stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Stratified in the sense there are multiple layers. Squamous means flat cells. Non-keratinized because keratinization occurs in nail, hair and skin. So in cornea it doesn't happen. So non-keratinized. So stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Number 2 is which are the organisms which can penetrate intact corneal epithelium. This is age old question. When I was preparing for entrance, I had this question. So organisms penetrating intact corneal epithelium. When I was preparing, the mnemonic was no pest control, which is Neisseria, no for Neisseria, gonorrhea and meningitis. Sorry, meningitis. P for Pseudomonas, C for Corneobacterium diphtheria. Diphtheria. Now the mnemonic has changed. Now the mnemonic is entirely changed into no or low heat control. Instead of pest control, it's heat control. So no means same Neisseria gonorrhoeae and Neisseria meningitidis. L for listeria. Heat H for Haemophilus influenza. No more Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas cannot penetrate intact corneal epithelium, but it can destroy the cornea within 2 days. Okay, but it cannot penetrate intact corneal epithelium. So Haemophilus influenza, and the control stands for Cornebacterium diphtheria. Cornebacterium diphtheria. Sorry, there's some lag. Okay. So these are the organisms which can penetrate intact corneal epithelium. So first question was, what is the histology? Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Number 2, organisms penetrating intact corneal epithelium. Number 3, anterior epithelium when it gets damaged. In this case, if it gets damaged, it can regenerate and form new anterior epithelium. That is the third point. So it can form new anterior epithelium. That is one of the classic features of epithelium. So coming to the next layer, Bowman's membrane. Bowman's membrane, if it gets damaged, it is damaged for life. It produces a scar. It cannot heal. Whereas the anterior epithelium, as I showed you, it is new one. But Bowman's membrane, what is stone? A stone. Already torn, a stone. So that's about Bowman's membrane. Bowman's membrane leads to scar. Then comes the corneal stroma. Corneal stroma is the thickest layer and it is uniformly arranged. The collagen is uniformly arranged. That is why it gives transparency to the cornea. Next is the Duas layer, found out by our own ophthalmologist Harminder Dua sir. So Duas layer, nothing new about it. It's a new layer. That's all. And coming to Decimate's membrane, it is a tough layer, okay, and only one organism which can penetrate. Let's imagine this as bacteria. It cannot penetrate. Whereas let's say this is fungus. So fungus, it can penetrate with the Smith's membrane. So as you can see, it can penetrate into the Decimate's membrane. So fungus can penetrate Decimate's membrane. As you can see here, it has penetrated. Okay. The last but not the least is the endothelium. Endothelium, it has few important points. It is an active pump which helps in the pumping of all the water outside the cornea. So that is a function, and it should be less than it should now not be less than 500 cells per cubic mm. So if it's less than 500, then you will get corneal edema. So coming to the endothelium, one second. So endothelium, 500 cells per cubic mm. It's the most important number. If it's less than 500 cells, you will have corneal edema. So corneal edema, E and 5 is alphabet number 5 is E. So E, that's how I remembered when I was preparing for my entrance exam. And the normal endothelial count, which you should remember, is 3000 cells per cubic mm, but it should never be less than 500 cells per cubic mm. So these are instruments used in the diagnosis of cornea. First, about corneal curvature. There is a machine called keratometry. So in this, I remember it as C. It's for corneal curvature. So what instrument we have used here is it's called Placido's disc. So Placido's disc, they have concentric rings, and this falls on the cornea depending on it's a concentric ring, and each rings are equidistant from each other. So if it falls on the cornea, based on where it falls, you can find out if there is any irregularity of the cornea. Next is the pachymeter. This is the pachymeter which measures the thickness, corneal thickness. I remember it as pachymeter. Okay, not pachy, it's patchy. So that T stands for thickness. So patchy helps in the measurement of thickness of the cornea, and pachy itself means thickness. So in Latin, pachy means thickness. You can remember either way. I used this mnemonic during my entrance preparation. So based on the thickness of the cornea, we can find out whether we can do refractive surgery or not, and also to find out the pressure inside the eye, because the cornea can interfere with the pressure, and it can falsely increase the pressure or falsely decrease the pressure in the measurement. Last is the specular count. Specular microscopy. So specular microscopy, what it does is it will count the endothelial cells. So these is how the endothelial cells are. Okay, and the based on the number of cells, we can either do a cataract surgery based on that, because if the endothelial counts are less, then the cataract surgery might not be might be problematic for the patient, and we have to do certain precautionary measures while doing cataract surgery. Or in the case of corneal transplant, if the endothelial count is not adequate, we might not do the corneal transplant if there is less endothelial counts. So endothelial count is very important for the maintenance of corneal for maintenance of to prevent corneal edema, for maintenance of for fluid inside the cornea. So endothelium, 500 cells per cubic mm minimum cells, which is a very important point, and specular microscopy, and it causes corneal edema. Okay, so the take home message here is, if the Bowman's membrane is involved and it gets damaged, you will get a scar. If the corneal endothelium is damaged, you will get edema. Okay, thank you.